since we're talking about health and safety, I'll say good day for everyone. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Hanna Musa El-Jor, and I am a partner with Meirc Training and Consulting. Meirc is a company founded in 1958, so we are 58 years old. Today we are going to spend the next about 30 minutes talking about health, about safety, a bit of the environment, and what is the definition of health and safety. Why do we need to be concerned about health and safety, from the economical point of view, from the humane point of view, productivity, and so on and so forth. So I would like once again to welcome every one of you. If you have any questions, you could type it and send it. And my two colleagues, Mr. Maroof and Ms. Ruba, which I do thank for their support today, will be able to assist you and me in trying to answering your question. Okay, so what is health and why should we be concerned about health, about safety in general? Let me give you a couple of statistics. Now, most of the statistics and the studies and the numbers we're talking about are based in the West, mainly North America, Canada, and the US. In the US, injuries alone cost in the US business more than $125 billion. That's a billion with a B, okay, per year. And those $125 billion per year does not include any kind of occupational illnesses, that long-term injury, and this will cost many, many, many times that. A few or more useful statistics, if I should say. Also in the States, studies have shown that nearly 50 employees, 50, are injured every minute of a 40-hour work week, and almost 17 employees die each day. Nearly 1/3 of all serious injuries and illnesses stem from or caused by overexertion or repetitive motion. So maybe that answers our first part of why the concern for safety. Of course, the cost of accident is greater than the cost of preventing them. Here we need to take into consideration the importance of management and top management, for them to be able to be involved in the planning and the implementation of any type of health and safety and environment. The second point is safety consciousness should be an integral part of business life. Of course it should. In my opinion, and as I hope you will agree with me, that as far as health and safety, it is the responsibility of every employee in the company. It's not just the responsibility of the HSE department or the top management, or no, every single employee in any organization, okay, should be an integral part, should be a major, important, imperative part of the health and safety management, the health and safety planning, the health and safety implementation. All right. Also, accident retard productivity and hinder efficiency. Of course, that would go back also to the economical point of view, that how much it will cost when one of our employee, if God forbid, got injured. We need to take into consideration how much productivity we are losing, how much money how much time of management time is spent, how much money we're spending on recruiting someone else or paying overtime for someone else to do that same job where the injured employee got, to be replaced. Even near accidents, we call them also near misses, are also indications that something is not going well. Something should be worked on to be corrected in our environment. Because a near miss, that means something went wrong, but no injuries or no damage did occur. But we don't always, come out on the safe side. So maybe one near miss, two near miss, but after a number of near misses, unfortunately, a real accident will take place. Now, some myth. Some people may always think that, come on, it will never happen to me. I've been doing this for the last 20 years and come on, no. I know I'm a pro at what I do. Well, we're not always sure about this because as we go back to the numbers that 50 employees are injured every minute of every working day in the States and that 17 of them may die each day, we shouldn't be thinking that way. It will never happen to me. Safety is expensive. Absolutely not. Safety is not expensive. Accidents, incidents are expensive, whether the cost of damage, physical damage, or the cost of life and injuries. Okay? Injuries and accidents are usually the result of luck. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe in luck. Okay, well, not to mistake luck. We're not talking about the religious part of it here. We're talking about luck. In my opinion, especially as as someone professional with a background in health and safety, I do believe that for every action there is a reaction. Okay, so luck may play a role in maybe 1-2% of the situations, but the other 98% is not luck. It is action and reaction. If we are safe, we are acting in a safe way, we are taking all precautions to be safe and healthy, luck shouldn't play a major role there. Safety professionals, it says, can assure safety. Well, I don't know about that. I could spend not just half hour or 1 hour talking about health and safety, but I could spend 7 days talking about it. Unless it is within each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, safety professional can advise you. Safety professional can guide you, but they can never assure safety. Okay? If it's not within you, if it is not a matter of changing your mindset, your perception about what safety is and what safety is not, nothing's gonna change that. Fear and reward are proper ways to motivate staff to work safely. I also do not agree with that. It is a myth. Fear is a short-term motivator. Reward, in a way, also is a short-term motivator. Okay? Once again, we go back to we need to change the culture. We need to change the mentality, the mindset of every one of our employees. We're not just talking employees. It could be someone, in the neighborhood. It could be friends. It could be our kids at home. It could be us, our behavior at home. Because when we talk about health and safety, it starts at home, and then it could branch out to work. To me, for people who think that fear and scaring someone is a good way to motivate your staff or other people to behave safely, I don't know. I always compare it, fear as a motivator, and I call it the chewing gum effect. When we get a chewing gum, we start chewing it. After 10, 15, 20 minutes, it's gonna lose its flavor. So we will need another chewing gum. The same with fear. If fear was the motivator, after half hour, 1 hour of acting safely, khalas, it's gonna be done. Whatever, maybe when the boss leaves the premises or, when something happened, we're gonna forget about it. There is little we can do about our safety culture. Absolutely not. There is a lot we can do about our safety culture. starting by, training courses, starting by spreading the new culture. The organizational culture of any firm, any company should first and most importantly be based on health and safety. Of course, it depends what is the nature of the organization. For example, any organization that has an industrial guide or direction, they should be more careful about health and safety, more than maybe a regular law office, but still in a law office, in a hospital, in any administrative job, there's always importance to be paid attention to when it comes to health and safety. Let us try to define and go almost over some of the keywords in the word safety as it was defined by the WHO, World Health Organization, back in 1998. It says safety is a state in which hazards and conditions leading to either physical, psychological, or material harm. So it is any one of those, not just the physical, but also psychological and or material harm, damage, okay, are controlled in order to preserve the health and the well-being of individuals and the community. It is an essential resource for everyday life. When we say everyday life, it doesn't mean only the 8 to 4 o'clock schedule at work. It is everyday life. It is at home, it is on the road, while driving, while walking, while working, all of that. And so it is an essential resource for everyday life, needed by individuals and by communities to realize their aspirations, their hope for life, their hope for safe and better life. So this is what the WHO define safety. So it's not just be safe, be in an armored, vehicle or in a basement, away from war or shelter. No. It is every day. Anything we do to avoid any physical, psychological, or material harm is a way to be safe and then to, all around us and the people around us. Now, when we talk about safety, we talk about the 6E theory, if you want to call it, or notion. And it starts anywhere in that cycle in front of you on the slide. It starts with engineering, but also it could start with evaluation, with encouragement, and so on and so forth. So when we say about the first E, engineering, and it's important in safety. For example, let's talk about safety on the roads, public roads. So road safety, what does the engineering has to do with it? Of course, it has to do a lot with the engineering of the roads, first of all, what angle the curves are, and the part of the mechanical engineering of the car. Second, staying within that same field or domain as far as road safety, emergency. God forbid there is an accident. The way to get the emergency crew to the accident will make a big difference. It makes the difference between life and death, that an emergency crew could get to the accident safely and in a speedy way. Enforcement. Us as a human nature, unless we are, and I apologize for using the term quote unquote punished, unless we are punished for doing something bad, and it doesn't mean by punish, go to jail. Sometimes we may have to go to jail, but for example, as far as road safety, fines, taking the license away if it's some of the major breaking the law issues here. So enforcement is very, very important here. Enforcement and follow-up, they go hand in hand. Evaluation. Anytime we have a project, anytime we start any kind of health and safety matter as far as planning it, as far as in implementing it. We need to do what we call an assessment, an evaluation. So to see whatever goals leading to the planning and the implementation of any kind of project related to health and safety, it has to be evaluated to see if we're doing well. We keep on doing what we were doing, and if we're not doing too well, we'll have to sometimes replan, sometimes change the course of the planning and the implementation. The fifth E is encouragement. Also, we need to be encouraged every time someone does something good as far as health and safety. We need to, reward them in a way. There are two kinds of rewards, okay? Negative rewards and positive reward. Negative rewards meaning I'm not gonna punish you. Positive rewards is I will reward you for doing good. So we need to implement that also, that fifth E, the encouragement, via I don't know, webinars such as this, via training, via anything that will encourage the good deeds of anyone involved in health and safety. And last but not least, education. Part of it, this is what we are doing here through this webinar. Another part of it could be in any kind of conferences that you attend related to your field of work, health and safety in this case. So education is very important. Anytime there is something new coming up in the field of health and safety, we need to know about it. We need to spread the word. So this is as far as the 6 E's. They're very important. Now, the point of any one of those E's, if it's not implemented correctly, if there is any gap in any of those E's, we are going to unfortunately be involved in a bad situation as far as health and safety. Industrial hygiene is a part of what a lot of you, ladies and gentlemen, listening now, you are involved in, okay, especially in industrial, oil, airports, so on and so forth. So the industrial hygiene, by definition, is the recognition. We need to identify what is going on as far as hazards in our workplace. Once we identify it, we recognize it, we need to evaluate it, meaning we need to do what we call in a research, we need to do a situational analysis. What is going on? We need to see where we are now so we know what goals to put from here on. And once we recognize, we evaluate, we need to be able to do, to put any measures to be able to control those hazards. So we recognize, we identify, we evaluate what is going on, and then once we know what is going on, how bad it is or how good sometimes it is, we need to be able to put any type of control. Speaking about hazards, as far as the workplace, we go, or we need to go by the MEP acronym. Okay, hazards could be caused by either the materials themselves, it could be caused by the equipment, okay, it could be caused by the environment itself and the people. Now, a lot of the studies that I've read, they say that up to 95%, listen to this, up to 95% of all accidents could be avoided because it is caused by people, by human. Okay, so if the materials are great, top notch, first class, equipment is brand new, all done and all maintained, the environment around us is all nice and healthy and safe, but the operator, the people who are managing, who is manning this machine or those materials or the environment, is not too safe, doesn't have the mindset of being safe, yeah, of course we are going to have a problem. Okay, but also every one of those is important. In my opinion, the people, the human factor is the most important, because we can control all of those. Even if the materials is not too safe, the equipment is leaking and stuff, the environment, if we do it in a safe way. For example, you are manning a vehicle, a car, where it is raining, your brakes are not working well, the tires in your car are not, well, they're not brand new, they may slip, it's dark, but instead of going 100 kilometers per hour, you're driving about 20 or 30 kilometers per hour until you get to a gas station or a mechanic to fix your car. Yes, of course you will be safe, or safer. Even though all the materials, the equipment, the environment are all unhealthy, are all unsafe, but you as the operator, as the people part here in Meirc, you are acting in a responsible way. Of course, you will be able to be safe and to survive whatever accident it may happen. By the way, as far as the WHO, and since we're talking about accident and road safety, the WHO they don't use car accidents, because of the fact that 95% of the time accidents are avoidable. Because of the human factor in it. Of course, they're called car crashes, because an accident is something that you cannot do anything about. Whereas, as we know, most of the car crashes, we can do a lot about them. If we go through the 6 E's, whether it's the engineering or the enforcement or the emergency or the education and so on and so forth. Okay. A job safety analysis. The objectives of what we call a job safety analysis is for us to be able to identify what are the potential hazards. Also, once we identify them, try to evaluate and eliminate those hazards. And once we eliminate them through the job safety analysis, or JSA, okay, sometimes it's called job hazards analysis, JSA, both. Also, so we do the identification of some potential hazards, the elimination of those potential hazards, and also it can help us to apply any new preventive measures, so we will avoid such problems or such hazards from becoming a near miss to becoming an incident and or an accident, God forbid. Okay, what are the uses and some of the benefits of a JSA, or job safety analysis? Of course, one of the obvious uses and or benefits is to record our findings, to have an archive, to have a history of those. Also, it will help us to be able to eliminate any hazards in the future, to avoid any accidents or incidents. Also, to be aware what is needed for our staff to be trained on, what is the gap in their need as far as training, TNA, training need analysis. Okay, with the JSA, the job safety analysis, we will combine them and then we could tell what our staff are lacking. As far as the procedures for the JSA, there are many ways that we could do. Okay, the golden rule as far as JSA, or job safety analysis, is it is a must that once we start analyzing any job, any task, we need to break this job or this task into steps. Okay, and then from there we need to identify any possible hazard of each of those steps. Okay, a JSA most of the time should be done, if the environment permitted, it should be done while observing the task by the employee performing the task, because I cannot guess, I cannot imagine, I cannot visualize observing it either live or by videotaping it, and then once we observe it, we record any hazardous findings in what the employee is doing. I'm checking the clock. I'm not sure. I still have some time. Okay, once we observe that, we can record any findings, any hazardous findings, of course, and then what are the action, what are our recommendations that we need to do to stop, to avoid that that task, dangerous or hazardous findings in any of those steps. As you know, a task could be divided into 2, 3, sometimes 50 steps. It depends what is the task and what is the job, how long it is, and what is involved in there. Okay? Of course, this is procedure and recording. We need to record it for our history, for our records, for our archives, for our investigation. God forbid any for legal stuff, for administrative stuff, and so on and so forth. By definition, this is what we said about the GSA. It is the identification, the study, and recording of each step of a job. We find it, we identify it, we watch it, we observe it, and then we need to determine what are the most efficient ways to reduce and to eliminate those hazardous steps to make the task and the job safe for everyone. As far as the JSA, which is very important, and each one of you guys, if you're involved in health and safety, whether you're working in mines, in an oil refinery, or behind a desk, I bet you, if when you go to work tomorrow, if you're working tomorrow, or next week, Sunday or Monday, go to work and then make a tour around the offices, and then I bet you, if you look and then observe each one of your employees, whether it's an administrative, whether it's one of your colleagues sitting behind the desk and answering the phone, working on the computer, that also involve health and safety. Just, take a look at what they do, see how they do answer the phone. I mean, imagine a secretary, whether it's a he or a she, answering the phone, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 times a day. And each time they need to talk on the phone for about a minute or 2 minutes. Let's say about a minute and a half. Times 50, this is 75 minutes. Imagine that a human being tilting their neck to talk on the phone, like someone I know, okay? Doing this for almost an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes, over and over again, day after day after day. Of course, this is hazardous. So this is one, for example, you could do a JSA doing this. Look, imagine all of you, go if you have a reception or 2 receptionists, okay, and see how they answer the phone. So, of course, you need to identify what is going on. A typist, a lot of the problem that we face with, people working on the computer all the time, it's what is known as carpal tunnel syndrome. Okay, check how they do. Maybe it may cost you, I don't know, $20 or whatever to get them a cushion, okay, to rest their wrists on while they're typing. Imagine that $20 if we don't do anything about it. God forbid in another year or 2 years, due to repetitive action, they may need to go have surgery. Just do the calculation, which is cheaper. The $20 for a cushion for their wrists, or the who knows how many couple of $1,000 for the surgery, and so on and so forth. Okay, I know a couple of you are sending questions. I do read them. I'm not concentrating, to be honest, on them, focusing on them, but I promise you, once we're done with the slides, which shouldn't take maybe, I don't know, another 10 minutes maybe, I will go back to the questions and I will answer them to the best of my knowledge, of course. Okay. So, when to revise the JSA? Anytime any of our machines sustains any damage due to an accident or whatever, and something changed in it, we need to go over the JSA again. Because there is a change to the nature of this machine, of this equipment. After a close call, what we mean by close call here, a near miss, okay? A near accident, meaning something was about to happen, but thank to God, it didn't happen. It didn't cause any damage, physical and or injuries, bodily injury. So this is also when we need to revise a JSA. Also, we need to visit our JSA again anytime we have any of our employees complaining. You know, the stairs are slippery, the exit door is blocked all the time. You know, any time our employees complain, and please, 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 I'm asking you, please do always encourage your employees to always be interactive with you, to always be in contact, in communication with you as far as health and safety. Let them tell you. You don't see everything. You cannot cover all of the premises of your offices. So please, you need to communicate with your employees the same. Your employees, they need to communicate with you, and let them feel free. Anytime they see anything unsafe, okay, they will need to let you know. Then you may need to do to review a JSA. Okay, when a job is altered, any change in the steps in any job, yes, this is also would need to be, would be a reason, a good cause to revise a JSA. When an injury or accident, God forbid, occurs, definitely, because something went wrong that caused the injury, or also another reason, another cause to revise a JSA, job safety analysis, is during a scheduled review. We could do it sometimes routinely. I don't know, it's up to you. It depends on the nature of your job, of your business. Do you do it weekly? Do you do it monthly, quarterly, yearly? We don't know. Okay, so also that could be done during a scheduled review. We mentioned a bit at the beginning, the question, and we answered a part of it. Are good health and safety good business? Of course they are good business. I mean, imagine, as I said in the States, $125 billion per year. Okay, this number does not include, as I said, the illnesses, the injuries related to the occupation. For example, we talked about carpal tunnel syndrome. This is not an acute injury. It doesn't happen right there. It is due to some repetitive motion, but that is not included in $125 billion per year. So imagine, anytime there is an accident, God forbid, your insurance premium is going to go up. So this is as far as the economic part of it. You're going to lose productivity. Of course you are. Of course, as far as the legal part of it, people may sue you. Your employees may sue you because you did not, provide them with whatever PPE, personal protective equipment to use. It depends on the nature of your job. Okay, so also from the legal point of view, you do need to be very careful. Okay, to always be on the safe side, to always do your utmost to try to prevent accidents from occurring. And also, as far as the humane point of view, okay, guys, we are talking, if you guys are involved in the HSE, you're in a way responsible for the safety, the health, the well-being, the survival of your employees. Okay, granted, they are also responsible, but we, as far as HSE, we do need to do our part in this. We do need to be, adamant. We do need to be consistent with that. I don't know, as on a funny part, I think one of the most hated, yes, I say the word hated, department in all organizations is HSE. Nobody likes us. Why? Because we tell them how to do it right. Because we tell them how to do it, safe. Because we tell them not to cut corners. In their opinion, some of them, I just want to be fair. In their opinion, as we said, some of them, it will never happen to me. Oh, I've done it this way. We cannot cut corners. As far as the humane point of view, as far as the humane aspect, we are responsible. Because just imagine, God forbid, any of your employees get injured. Okay, the physical, physiological effect on him, the mental, psychological effect on him, the effect, negative, adverse effect on his family, on his kids, on the job itself. So the whole, society around him, as far as the humanity around him, will be also affected, unfortunately, negatively. Okay, so this is, in a nutshell, why do we need to prevent accidents? A humane, legal, and economic point of view. And let me go back to this. When we go, anytime you have any initiative as far as health, I bet you, I've been there. I've been there, and it happened to me. You go to your management and you tell them, this is, I think, what we should do. We need to, I don't know, invest in more fire equipment, invest in more PPE, and so on and so forth. The first question, and with all due respects to all management, how much that's going to cost me? Well, here, your role, your part is to ask them to hold on, sir or madam, let me tell you how much it's going to save for the company. And this is, of course, this is where you need to have your case ready. Tell them what it costs, tell them what it saves, and tell them the difference between how much it will cost and how much it will save the company. Once from the economic point of view, second from the legal point of view, and third and most importantly from the humane point of view. God forbid you lose anyone or someone will become handicapped for the rest of their life. This is what they need to think about. Okay, so we've been talking for about, gosh, I talk too much. Okay, we've been talking for about 40 minutes now, 36 minutes to be exact. And in a nutshell, what is the point of it all? As I said, as I started, and I will repeat, everyone in the company, every single employee, from the CEO down to the janitor, to the office boy, just think about it. If the office boy is not, with all due respect, or the janitor, don't have the safe mindset, they may act hazardly dealing with the hot water or the tea, or the janitor may be sweeping the floor and it's somewhere wet. They don't put the sign for it, and God forbid someone may slip and then break their neck or their back. Okay, so everyone in the company should be feeling responsible for safety, and everyone has a role in there. And when we talk about culture, organizational culture, we should adopt a total safety culture. Okay, it is not considered a priority. Safety in that field is not considered a priority that can be shifted. It depends on whether we have it in the budget, we have money in the budget to invest here, or whether we don't. Whether we have time or no. That should be a priority, a constant priority, at any point, at any given situation. The factors that may be involved in the total safety culture are environmental factors, including the equipment, the tools we talked about. Could be the personal, humane factors, the people's attitudes, the people's beliefs, and their personality. Of course, that goes back to our background, okay, the way we were raised, our values. We don't have now enough time to talk about the psychology of leadership in health and safety, but yet, yes, when we talk about attitudes, beliefs, and personality, it has a lot to do with the way we were raised. Were we raised, don't worry about it, it'll never happen to you. God will bless you. Of course, God will bless us. Of course, God will protect us. But also, God needs a bit of help, needs a bit of support from us. I cannot jump from a 30 stories building and say, oh, God will help me and then will save me. I need to do my part also. And the last but not least is the behavioral factor, the mindset, whether we act, whether we behave safely or unsafely. This is all up to us. But also our background, our training, our education, our knowledge about health and safety play a big role in the total safety culture. And this is how the safety process is driven. It's driven by the culture. The culture will drive the safety process, not the company. Of course, management has a lot to do with it. Management involvement and how serious the management is, of course, very important. I don't behave, I don't act in a safe way because the government is telling me you should do this. Of course not. I'll do it because it is in my mindset. It is in my culture. We need to focus on the behaviors, on the attitudes, but definitely not on the outcome. Because if we behave on a safe behavior, if we focus, on a safe behavior, we focus on a positive and safe attitude, definitely the outcome is going to be superb. It's going to be positive to us, to the company, to our colleagues, to the family, to our community. Okay? We need to, once again, focus on the achieving the success rather than avoiding failure. It's not because, oh, we don't want to lose money here, this is why we're doing it. I don't want you to get injured. No, I don't want you to be, in any way, involved in any hazardous material so you won't get injured. This is what we need to focus on. Not just to avoid the failure, but we need to achieve success. I don't study just to pass. No, I study to be one of the top 5 in my class. Okay? Any observation and feedback will lead to safe work behavior. This is what I'm talking about. Open lines of communication between your employees and you. Encourage them. Reward them. I know a lot of major companies, they reward their employees anytime they come up with a suggestion, anytime they point to some hazardous material going on or some hazards being identified by the employees. Of course, feedback, very important. This is the reaction. Effective feedback occurs through behavior-based and person-based coaching. Who's going to do the coaching? You are, ladies and gentlemen. You are involved in the health. You are involved in the safety and the environment of your organization. Safety observing and coaching are key actively caring processes for achieving total safety culture. Yes, you observe, as we say through the GSA, you see what's going on. You don't just implement them by force, by fear. Rewarding, of course, positive and negative. You need to be involved personally. You need to be a good coach, an effective coach where you could reach the goals that you set them. Okay, self-esteem, belonging, empowerment, increase actively caring for safety. Definitely, if we go back to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety is number 2 after the physiological needs. So it is that important. After we eat, we drink, and then we sleep, and then we breathe a good air, we have our utmost important need is the safety. Okay, we go back to conclude. The ultimate purpose from everything related to safety culture, to safety behavior, is to shift safety from a priority to a value. We need to be a part of that value. We need to be a part of the culture. Can we do it on our own as HSE? Of course not. Can the employee do it on their own? Of course not. We need to communicate. We need to combine our efforts, everyone, so we will form a synergy, an HSE synergy. I do want to thank you. I have a couple of questions here or statements. I will try with the remaining time to answer them. And let me see. Question number 1. Let me scroll up, is from Mr. Mu'taz Mahmoud. How does this differ from the occupational risk assessment? Are we talking the JSA? How it differs? Not really much. Not really much. Because as we know, as far as risk assessment, risk by definition, the formula of risk is R equal P times S, meaning risk equal probability times severity. I'm sure you're aware of what I'm talking about. So, not really. When you observe, if it's happening time after time after time, this is the probability part of it, Mr. Mu'taz. And how severe, what is the outcome as far as injuries? as far as hazardous behavior and actions. So in a way, they go hand in hand. I don't know if I answered your question. This is what you meant by how this meaning the GSA or not. Second question, Mr. Manu Abraham. Is GSA or risk assessment considered as legal document in UAE? Yes, sir. In UAE, especially the last few years, they are moving towards a safer environment for work. Okay, it depends on the company. Some will go and adopt the OSHA, the American branch of the health and safety, and some will adopt the British part, which is the NIBOSH. But yes, they do. Which means if there is an accident, will the court consider it as a support document to prevent the employer from fines or prosecution? Absolutely. It is a legal document because in court, during the investigation, they are going to ask for any legal document, any archives, any history on which GSA is a part of it. Again, Manu Ibrahim. Then, how do we prove the investigators or the authority that we have done our part to prevent the employees' safety? Well, document everything. Okay. Make sure anytime, for example, you give PPE for your employees. Make sure they sign on a form that yes, I hear and I promise I will use them, and I've been trained to use, and so on and so forth. Now, if they were in an accident and they were, I don't want to say caught, but they ended up not using them, then you've done your part. As far as the employer, you've done your part. Then what is the difference between a company with good HSE management? I'm still reading Manu's multiple questions in one, which I don't mind. Then what is the difference between a company with good HSE management system and a company with no systems? Ooh, a big difference. A big difference. Of course, with no system, that means no archiving, that means no GSA, that means no guidelines for safety. Of course, this is chaos. In my opinion, it's like living in a jungle. You definitely need an HSA management system. Accidents could happen for any company, even for the company with good management system. Of course, because the point here, it's not having a system on paper. It is having a system on paper and implementing it, taking actions toward it. Okay? Do accidents happen? Yes, they do. But if we talk about, for example, the MEP, if we work mainly on the people, how to handle a machine, how to handle an incident, how to behave in a safe way, most of the time the equipment is fine if we maintain it right. Okay? Most of the time the material is healthy and safe if we handle it okay. Okay, the environment is also, most of the time, is us, the people who are involved. So accidents could happen. Of course, it could happen for any company, even for the company with good management system. Yes, but what is the probability of accidents happening here, and what is the probability of accidents not happening here? One, a company with good management system, and one without. I hope I answered your question, Manu. If I haven't, please let me know more. Question number 4, again, Mr. Mu'taz Mahmoud. What can we do if the top management, that's a golden question, is not supporting the HSE programs in the organization? They just hire an HSE specialist and they consider that he can do everything just for legal requirement. What to do in this case? I'm not sure if you are involved in the health and safety and the environment part in your job, or you're just a concerned employee. Either way, you, as I said, you need, listen, when it comes to top management, as I said, first, and this is their right, they are there to manage, to be efficient, to make money for the company. And they try to save money also for the company, but not on the expense of the employees' health and safety. Trust me. So what you need to do, if you are going to try to convince them, do a nice, effective presentation, showing them without, because their first question is, what's in it for me? How much is gonna cost me? And what's in it for me? So it is your responsibility to show them how they can save money, cost benefits analysis. I'm sure you're familiar with this. How much they can save if they do pay some small investment now. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm clear. Mu'taz, anyway, Habibi, you will have my email address or the company's Meirc address at any point if you want to elaborate more on this or any of your questions, ladies and gentlemen. I am, you could email me. I'm fine. Okay, let me check more questions now. I'm going. How can we do a fit stop? I'm reading, I'm reading, ladies and gentlemen. Just for okay. Manu Abraham said good point. I'm not sure if he's cheering me up or some of the other participants. Mu'taz, again, organizational factors and financial factors, I think, must be considered in addition to the conventional environment, personal. Well, organizational factors meaning the organizational culture, I think. This is what I understood. Financial factors, we go back to the economical factor. Of course they should be. But we should be able to prove to top management who are not well convinced. We need to convince them that, guys, prevention is way less expensive than accidents. And you could give them a zillion in one example. Google is full of examples on how much a small accident may cause a company. Okay. Mu'taz Mahmoud, industrial hygiene. I'm not sure if you are asking a question, but I could go back and then tell you. It's I think one of the slides up there. Industrial hygiene is recognizing and evaluating and trying to prevent or set safety steps to avoid any future accidents. Maryam Haidar, are the 6 E's of safety a universal principle followed? Is it followed? I'm not sure about it. Usually they used to have the 3 E. With my background and my experience in health and safety back home and in the States, we added another 3 E. Usually they're the 3 E: engineering, enforcement, and education. Okay, we added the emergency and the other stuff. Okay, I think no more questions. Some more. Maruf is telling me more questions. Okay, Mr. Wadi Ayari, do you advise adopting the good question, the OSHA's OHSAS instead of the OSHA? The OSHA is more branch out. I do agree with you. It is more maybe detailed. Well, that's a good question. I go with the OSHA. Okay, I go with the OSHA. The OSHA is a bit more up to date, if you want. But of course, the OSHA, they're always updating, and there's always, if you go and visit their page, they're always updating. I know it could be a bit too complicated, but it's up to you. What is the nature of your work and where either OSHA or OSHAS would be implemented? Mariam Haider again, or Haider, please explain the enforcement part of the 6 E's further. When we talk about enforcement, when you put a rule and someone break that rule, they need to be, I hate to use the word punished, but they need to pay for their, for example, if they broke a major rule in health and safety and, jeopardize the life of the company, in my opinion, they need to be fired. Okay? If it's an incident, that's fine. We train them, we coach them, and so on and so forth. But if it happens more and more and time after time, this is the enforcement. We need to educate, we need to coach, we need to set all of the E's, but also one of the most important E's is the enforcement. Yani the follow-up of whatever we say we need to do, follow up. By our nature, human, if we don't follow up on something, we will forget it. Just think about the last meeting you had 2-3 weeks ago, and there wasn't a follow-up on it. how many of the items did you work on? I bet you 1 or 2 if you have 5 or 10 to do. Okay, Mariam? Lucina Faye, are all the Gulf countries following 6E's principle or from WHO principles? That's a good question. We would like them to, but no. Once again, not everything on paper is enough. Yeah, some company have the great code of conduct or great code of safety, a beautiful emergency plan, but it is not implemented. It is not done as a drill, so of course it will remain ink on paper. Last but not least, Mr. or Ms. Mr. Chris Agopian. What is the difference between occupational health and occupational safety? Not much. You know, the health is more the environment around us. Okay, the safety is, in my opinion, anything that may cause imminent danger. Okay, the health is, for example, if you know, the ergonomic, you're sitting on your desk, the area is not well lit. You know, this is health because it may take a bit of time for it to have any negative outcome on you. Whereas the safety is right there. Okay, I don't know if I answered your question, or is this what you meant by Mr. Agopian? Okay, I'll wait for about a minute or two if any of you ladies and gentlemen will have one more questions. If not, please at any point do email me. If you're in the area, we are located in Dubai. If you're in the area, please pass by. Any questions concerning health and safety, we are more than happy to. We have a course coming up, I believe in November. Check our site. It's the health, how to be a leader in health and safety. One more question from Ms. Lucina Faye. Oh, that's not a question. That's a nice statement. You are thanking me. I do thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's wow, time flies when you're having fun. It was a great meeting you virtually, at least, and I hope some of the information that you know, I shared with you from my own experience and my professional experience did help. Once again, please, let's remain in touch. Anything you may have, any questions, any opinion I could give, we are ready to do it. For free, yes, imagine a company is offering any services for free these days. I do appreciate you all. Thank you very much, and hopefully we will meet again in another seminar. Meirc.com